Alright, we're about a month and a half away from training camp, and slowly but surely, we're seeing more players going from taking time off the court, resting their bodies, and maybe getting some vacation time into, to now getting back on the court and working on their game for next season. We've seen it and talked about it with Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, a few other players in the team, and now today we got both Bronny James and Koloko working out, and footage of them working out too. They've been working out with NBA trainer Chris Johnson, Koloko working on shooting ability, floater game, touch around the rim, Bronny working on his pick and roll game, ball handling ability, simply point guard ability in general. You know, two guys that are currently on the outside looking in of the Lakers rotation, maybe a pathway for one or potentially both of them if injuries come about or if they show improvement leading up and throughout training camp. So we're going to talk about what they should be working on in their game, what they need to improve for next season, and if there is a viable pathway for them to enter the rotation if they can't show that improvement. I mean, taking a look at and talking about their current rotation, I'd say that Koloko is probably their 11th or 12th man right now, falling behind both DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes, maybe even Maxi Kleber if you want to throw him in as a center too. So he's kind of their third or fourth center option depending on the matchup. Might be in their rotation in some matchups, definitely won't be in other matchups, though that might be able to change again if he can add more to his game. Maybe that be a 3-point shot, showing better improvement on defense, and maybe a better rim protector than Jackson Hayes. Maybe there might be a pathway for him. Then for Bronny, I think he definitely had a much more viable pathway prior to them signing Marcus Smart, but after they did that, they kind of filled that role and kind of filled that skill set on their team. Smart being that good, reliable, and relentless point of attack defender, also being a combo guard that can play some point guard. That's pretty much what Bronny is trying to become and the role that he's trying to fill for their team. So although it might be a setback for him in regard to playing time and getting in the rotation, it could be a great opportunity for him to learn from a player that literally is what he's trying to become, so definitely not a bad thing for him in my opinion. But again, could there be a pathway if somebody gets hurt? If Marcus Smart himself gets hurt? After all, he's only played about 50 games in the past 2 years now, so if I'm Bronny, I'm definitely staying ready so I don't have to get ready. Trying to become that and showing that he can become that this season, maybe there could be a pathway for him and an opportunity for him at some point. So beginning with Bronny and what he has to show and show improvement on this season, you know, I think he actually looked pretty good throughout Summer League. Yes, we're talking about Summer League here, that's definitely not the NBA level, but if you're comparing it to last year's Summer League, simply what Bronny entered the NBA as, I think he's been able to show a lot of improvement throughout the past year now. Everything in regard to scoring ability, reading the defense and making the right play and the right read on the court, point guard ability, handling and getting through pick and rolls, shooting ability, even his defense, which was kind of his bread and butter. All of that shown improvement and I've been fairly impressed with him. Obviously a long ways to go for him yet, isn't quite the 3-point shooter that could be a 3-and-D option yet, isn't quite the ball handler that could be a backup point guard or kind of a combo guard, even maybe not the defensive option that the Lakers want him to be quite yet, even though that's currently his best skill in my opinion. A lot of work to do, but is showing improvement, and gotta remember the kid's only 20 years old yet too. However, if we are talking about cracking a rotation and what he has to do to simply do that, I probably would point to his shooting ability first. Throughout Summer League, shooting only 29.6%, only talking about 6 total games here, so a pretty limited sample. And throughout the G League, he did shoot pretty well, so you could point to that instead. Shooting roughly 38% in the G League last season, but not showing much at the NBA level, not showing to be a consistent shooting option quite yet. And simply put, if you can't shoot at the NBA level and you're not a center, especially a traditional center, then you're probably not going to get much consistent playing time. I mean, pointing to his peers and the players that he's trying to develop into, somebody like a Davion Mitchell for example, maybe a Marcus Smart himself, a former Laker like Avery Bradley, they at least had to be fairly reliable shooting options. You know, for Marcus Smart, he kind of compensated for that by being absolutely elite defensively, still is when healthy and definitely can be at that level, but simply for corner 3-point shooting, gotta be at least a 35% corner 3-point shooter, even better than that ideally. Ideally about 35% from 3 overall, 35 to 38% from the corner, and I'm not sure that Bronny's at that level quite yet, at least not consistently. So that's one part of it. Then if you would hope to become more of a heavy rotation player that gets 20 plus minutes per game, if not even become a starter down the line here, then he'd have to develop some better point guard ability. Right now he's more of an off-ball player in my opinion. Does have some point guard ability, but if you're actually putting him against NBA defenses, that probably would be a bit different. Not simply against Summer League teams or G League teams. He's still a bit hesitant and doesn't always make the right read. Definitely has shown some good improvement throughout the past year. Definitely has shown some good moments and flashes of ability to become that down the line. But it also has come with plenty of turnovers too. I mean, throughout Summer League averaging about 4 of them per game. That's quite a bit in only 20 minutes per game. Translating that to per 40 minutes, we're talking about nearly 6 of them per game. Or even per 36, roughly about the same amount. So does have to dial that back. You know, the Summer League decision making is kind of up in the air here. They want him to do that and play through his errors on the court to try and show improvement and eventually get to that level. But if he does hope to get there and do it at the NBA level, then he's got to become more consistent, less turnover prone, and a bit more reliable in general. Like I said, I think he's currently on the outside looking in of the rotation, but I also wouldn't say that's a bad thing for him. Between him only being 20 years old yet, between the fact that if he would get thrust into the rotation and wouldn't be ready for it, that could actually hurt him more than it would help him, the fact that he can play behind Marcus Smart and pick his brain throughout the entire next year, if not even multiple years, a guy that again literally plays like the player that Bronny wants to become or should want to become in my opinion, eventually taking that over from Marcus Smart or maybe playing with him down the line. I think it should be a great development year for Bronny. Again, if somebody gets hurt, then hopefully he will be able to step up and fill that backcourt option role for their team. Kind of a 3-and-D backcourt role, maybe some point guard or simply ball handling ability, but mainly off-ball player in general, mainly for defensive purposes, and that's kind of what he has to offer at this current moment. But then moving on to Christian Koloko, and this is definitely more of an interesting one. I wouldn't call him a permanent member of the rotation or a guy that will be in there every game for their team, but I think there definitely could be matchups where they do turn to Christian Koloko. If not that, then if Jackson Hayes isn't playing well, if Maxi Kleber is not playing well or simply is not on the court, which unfortunately has been a pretty common thing for him, then they might turn to Christian Koloko. Another guy that played well throughout Summer League for their team, only playing during the Las Vegas Summer League portion, but when he did play, he played pretty well for them. Averaging roughly 7 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, over 1 steal per game, and nearly 3 blocks per game in only 17 minutes per game, that translating to over 5 of them per 36 minutes, finishing at the rim at a 58% clip, even knocking down a 3-point shot and even taking a few 3-point shots. I like to see it from him. I like that he's not afraid to take them, has the confidence to take them, and is trying to add that to his game, which is shown by the background footage here and him working on that with NBA trainer Chris Johnson. I like what Koloko might be able to offer their team. You know, if he could become a rim protecting lob threat that also can space the floor 3-point shooting wise, that's something that they don't have in their rotation right now. That's something that very few NBA teams have around the league. I mean, that's a pretty rare combination of 3-point shooting, lob threat ability, and rim protection. That's pretty much exactly what you want at the center position. So if Koloko can become that or even some semblance of it, then there definitely could be a pathway to playing time for him. In fact, at that point I'd probably even take him over Jackson Hayes. However, we kind of realize that he's not there yet. Obviously isn't a very reliable 3-point shooting threat, might knock down the occasional one, and again I like the fact that he's not afraid to take them, but he's not a 3-point shooting threat yet. I mean, throughout his NBA career, he's only made a couple of them, literally throughout the entirety of his NBA career, which has been a very large NBA career yet, he's made 1 3-point shot, going 1 of 16 so far. And yes, he's made a few more in the G League, but that's the G League, not the NBA level. Might not even get the opportunity to do it at the NBA level, and even if he does get the okay, the green light from JJ Redick, that would definitely take some more trust to earn it. I'm not sure he's there quite yet. Again, I love the fact that he's not afraid to take them, not afraid to eventually try to become that option for their team, but he's not there quite yet. At this current moment, and we've seen it throughout last season, he's more of simply a dump-off guy around the rim, is a good lob threat, and I like the fact that he does offer that ability, is a very athletic player for being 7'1", is a good rim runner, is a pretty good shot blocker. You know, I think he has to improve his reliability around the rim, mainly being contesting without fouling. Fouling has been a bit of an issue for him up until this point. In only about 9 minutes per game last season, averaging over 1 foul per game, that translating to roughly 5 of them per 36 minutes, even showing a little bit of that throughout the Summer League, averaging 4 of them in only 17.5 minutes per game, so it is a bit of an issue for him. Definitely can and will block shots, can be a good rim protector, but it also comes with some volatility on defense too. So if I'm Christian Koloko, I'm definitely looking to become more reliable and definitely a lot less foul prone on defense, becoming a better 3-point shooter to kind of stand out in their center rotation. You know, again, that's a combination that nobody else offers on their team. Ayton offering some rim protection and mid-range shooting, Hayes offering some, I guess, finishing ability at the rim and being a lob threat, with some switchability on defense. Kleba offering some 3-point shooting and some switchability on defense when healthy, but nobody offering the combination of 3-point shooting, lob threat ability, rim running, and rim protection ability. That's the combination that Christian Koloko could maybe develop into and therefore bypass one of Maxi Kleba or Hayes within their rotation. You know, standing out among their center rotation and kind of getting the attention of JJ Redick. That's what I'd be looking to do if I'm Christian Koloko. Obviously a lot to ask from him, but that's the ideal scenario with Christian Koloko. Him developing some semblance of a 3-point shot, becoming a better rim protector and a lot less foul prone while doing it, maintaining and improving his lob threat ability and finishing ability around the rim. That's what I'm hoping for, and really hoping that Christian Koloko is able to show next season. And well, between the two of Christian Koloko and Bronny James, they might be on the outside looking in right now, but if they develop their game and maybe get the opportunity due to an injury or players ahead of them not playing well, then they might be able to get in the rotation. So with that being said here, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the two of Bronny James and Christian Koloko, and what do you think they should be working on this summer to potentially get more playing time in the Lakers rotation, or possibly to even crack the rotation eventually? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching, have a great day or night.